all stand, please? Uncover and remain uncovered for the opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance.
The sign of youth. Just very briefly for our members before we get started, Dan LaRocca is in the hospital. He's at St. Francis. He would really like a visit. He's 97 years old. You know, reach out to him if you can. Keep him in your prayers. Almighty God, Supreme Architect of the universe, as we open this meeting of the American Legion Post 304, we remember our armed forces serving throughout the world. For our brother legionnaires, those present and those away ill or infirm, we ask for your blessings. This evening, we are pleased to host our local police, firefighters, and emergency responders. These brave men and women risk their lives each and every day to protect us. We salute them and ask Almighty God's special blessing on them. Tonight, we implore thee to be with us in our deliberations. Inspire us with thy wisdom, direct us in our undertakings, and guide us as we work for thee and our beloved country. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cover. All right, join me in reciting the preamble. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate a 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and incidents of in the great wars, to inculcate a sense of individual to the community, state, and nation, to combat the autocracy of both the masses and to make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. Resolution 288, adopted at the 67th National Convention, calls for designating a POW MIA empty chair at all official meetings of the American Legion as a physical symbol of the thousands of American POW MIAs still unaccounted for from all wars and conflicts involving the United States of America. Accordingly, at this time, the Sergeant at Arms will place the POW MIA flag on the empty chair. A reminder for all of us to spare no effort to secure the release of any American prisoners from captivity, the repatriation of the remains of those who died bravely in defense of our liberty, and a full accounting of those missing. Let us rededicate ourselves for this vital endeavor. Let us remember.
Let us remember.
I now declare the American Legion Manhasset Post 304 Department of New York regularly convened. Now, can I get a motion? You all can sit.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion from the floor to suspend the regular business meeting?
I'd like to make that motion.
I hear a second.
Second.
All four?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. I will now turn the proceedings over to Vice Commander Jim Brooks.
Good evening, honorees, guests, and fellow Legionnaires. Welcome to the annual Manhasset Post 304 Community Awards Ceremony. We are deeply honored that you have joined us tonight. At this point, I would like to recognize two officers from the American Legion serving at the county level, Nassau County level. Joseph Bruner is our Law and Order Chairman, and Frank Colon, past county commander, and Frank would like to address us.
I'm gonna do it from right here. I just wanna let everybody know, this law and order program has been going on through the American Legion, which this year will be 100 years old. Just to let you know that, alright? And also, because also World War I will be 100 years old this year. Alright? Now, these proceedings will go from the post to the county, which is Nassau County, to the district, which is between Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk, to state, which is up in Albany, then to national. And everybody who's selected for these awards, that's the process of where it goes. Alright? And we had a guy from upstate New York back about 6 years ago. I remember when I was there at the convention. He had four good grads in a Signal 10. Why do I know what a Signal 10 is? I'm in Rockville Center. So, I'll tell you, you guys are doing a great job, and God bless you all, and thanks for being there for all of what you do. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you. Now, to repeat Frank, American Legion posts all over the United States participate in this program, which we call the Law and Order Program, since it is primarily designed to honor local police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical technicians. We are proud of our participation in this program. Our Law and Order Program has constantly been recognized at the county level, the state level, and once at the national level. Of course, the program would be nothing if we did not have outstanding members of the community to honor. All of these honorees have heard the call to duty and have performed above and beyond to make our community a better place. And while we are honoring these particular individuals tonight for their service, we should take a moment to realize and recognize the debt of gratitude which we owe to all of their colleagues as well. They are all deserving of recognition for their many years of service to our community and the county of Nassau. Tonight we will be honoring 2 New York State troopers, 3 police officers from the 3rd Precinct, a detective from the 3rd Squad, a police medic from the Emergency Ambulance Unit, a firefighter and EMT from Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department, and a firefighter from the Plandome Fire Department. We are very pleased to have coverage by Public Access Television. We would like to thank Erica Bradley, the executive director of PATV, for making these arrangements. And we would welcome Mike Peters and Yeet, who are recording this ceremony. The broadcast could be seen next month, Cablevision Channel 20 or Verizon Channel 37. Okay, on to the awards. Our first award this evening is Trooper of the Year, with Troopers Brian Cox and Jeffrey Sumsick of the New York State Police. Please come forward. And with Sergeant Trainee Young of Troop L, come forward to make the citation.
Good evening. My name is Sergeant Trainee Young, and I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize the accomplishments of Troopers Brian Cox and Jeffrey Sumsick. Trooper Cox joined the New York State Police on August 4th, 2014. After graduating, he was assigned to Troop F, Esprit Liberty, for approximately 2 years. Trooper Sumsick joined the New York State Police on March 2nd, 2015. After graduating, he spent time at Troop C, SP Sydney, and Troop NYC, SP Bronx. In August 2017, both members transferred to SP Lake Success. The two of them partnered up to make the Northern State Parkway and other Long Island roadways safe. Since their arrival, they have made a combined 51 arrests of individuals suspected of driving while intoxicated or driving under the influence of drugs. I would like to take a moment to speak of some of their notable arrests. On September 4th, 2017, Troopers Cox and Sumsick observed a vehicle and traffic violation while patrolling the Northern State Parkway. A traffic stop was initiated, and while interviewing the driver and passenger, a strong odor of marijuana inside the vehicle was detected. The passenger admitted that there was some marijuana inside the car. A vehicle search was conducted, and a loaded handgun was located under the passenger seat, along with some marijuana. The handgun was not registered, and the subjects refused to offer any information on how it was obtained. Both subjects were charged with 2 counts of criminal possession of weapon in the second degree and 5 counts of unlawful possession of marijuana. On December 19th, 2017, Troopers Cox and Subniks observed an occupied vehicle on the right shoulder of the Wantage State Parkway. Upon interviewing the operator, a strong odor of marijuana was detected inside the vehicle, thus resulting in a probable cause search. The search revealed a red Mickey Mouse backpack located in the trunk under the spare tire, hidden within the spare tire compartment. Inside the backpack contained 1,005 Xanax pills, along with several other illegal narcotics. In both cases, due to the troopers' thoroughness and teamwork to further investigate the circumstances of these situations, a dangerous, illegally possessed firearm has been removed from the streets, as well as seizure of illegal narcotics. I would like to congratulate both troopers on a job well done. Keep up good work.
We will now recognize the Nassau County Police Department. The Police Officer of the Year is the award to be presented to 3 officers from the 3rd Precinct, with police officers Kevin Howder, Charles Powell, and Thomas Schultz. Please come forward. And with Deputy Inspector Gregory Abruzzo, please come forward to read the citation.
Hi, how are you? On behalf of the 3rd Precinct, I would like to thank you for having us here today. We had on 3 officers, Officer Kevin Howder, Officer Chaz Powell, and Officer Thomas Schultz, for arrest of 2 subjects for a burglary for a residential home. On November 20th, 2017, at approximately 5 p.m., police officers Howder, Powell, and Schultz responded to an assignment for a residential alarm in Flower Hill. Armed with the knowledge that burglaries tend to spike at dusk this time of year, they responded quickly, making observations along the route. At approximately 5 p.m. on their way, the officers responded to the alarm on Greenway in Flower Hill, where 2 subjects did attempt to enter the victim's residence by breaking the rear window. Responding officers found the broken window and quickly set up a perimeter. The officers apprehended 1 subject in an occupied vehicle parked in front of the location, acting as a lookout. A second subject was apprehended during a search of the perimeter. Their quick response and police instincts led to the arrest of 2 subjects for burglary. Had these 2 burglars successfully eluded police, they likely would have targeted another home in the area, either that evening or on a different night. I want to thank these officers for their outstanding job. That's all I got.
All right, continuing with the Nassau County Police Department, our next award is Detective of the Year. Would Detective Thomas Roche please come forward? And would Detective Lieutenant Thomas Murphy come forward to read the citation?
That would be bad. All right, good evening. I'm Detective Lieutenant Tom Murphy. I'm the commanding officer of the 3rd Squad. I appreciate and thank you all for having us here to honor Detective Roche and appreciate what you all do for us day in and day out. All right? All right, in the early morning hours of March 17th, 2017, 2 masked men entered the dollar store located on Greenwich Street in Hempstead, armed with handguns. these men threatened 2 female employees working in the store at gunpoint, demanding the money from the cash registers. One of the suspects demanded one of the victim's cell phone, which he handed over to him, and then he placed it on the counter. During the commission of the robbery, there was also another customer within inside the store. One of the suspects attempted to locate that customer. However, he managed to exit before being located. Upon returning to his partner, the suspects continued with the robbery, then exited the store through the back entrance, leaving behind the cell phone that the one suspect had taken from the female victim. The victims called 911 and officers responded to the scene. Third Squad detectives Thomas Roche, along with detectives Wills, Gibbs, Lopez, were also notified and responded to the scene to begin the investigation. Once at the scene, the detectives began to interview the female victims. Detective Roche, who was the lead investigator, began to review the security video. While watching the video, Detective Roche realized that the suspects were only wearing one latex glove each. He then observed that the one suspect who had demanded the victim's cell phone had touched it with his bare hand before placing it on the counter. Detective Roche instructed Detective Lopez to make sure that no one touched or moved that cell phone that the suspect had left behind, realizing it was a vital piece of evidence and it needed to be preserved and collected for evidence. Detective Roche then examined the area where the suspects had exited the building. He found fresh footprints in the snow, along with some latex gloves. Detective Roche requested the crime scene search unit to respond to process the scene. Detective Roche walked them through the crime scene, pointing out important evidence to be preserved and photographed. The victim's cell phone was collected as evidence, which would be later examined by the medical examiner's office for potential identification of the suspect. Later that same day, Detective Roche requested a rush to be placed on that examination of the cell phone for a latent fingerprint, hoping to identify the suspect. A few days later, Detective Roche received a call from the medical examiner's office, who informed him that they had lifted a latent print from the cell phone and discovered a potential suspect's name. Detective Roche confirmed with the victim that she did not know anyone by that name associated with the fingerprint. That same day, with some good detective work, the suspect was located at his home and taken into custody without incident. The suspect was interviewed and could not explain how his fingerprints got on the victim's cell phone. During the suspect's interview, Detective Roche asked Detective Wills and Gibbs to respond back to the suspect's home, where they were able to recover a black starter's pistol and a box of latex gloves, presumably the same weapon used during the crime and the same type of gloves recovered from the rear of the crime scene. Working together with the district attorney's office, the investigation led to the suspect taking a plea of attempted robbery second, a violent felony offense. The defendant admitted in open court to the crime. He was sentenced to 3 years prison. Detective Roche's experience, leadership, and dedication to this investigation led to the conviction for a violent felony. Detective Roche's keen observation at the crime scene, recovering the cell phone, gloves, and having photographs of key elements, such as the footprints, were of great value to the case. Furthermore, he conducted an interrogation which led to the recovery of a weapon and additional evidence at the suspect's home. Finally, his court testimony and preparation with the district attorney's office sealed the suspect's conviction. I'd like to congratulate Detective Roche on the job well done.
And now, we have 2 wall plaques which recognize the officers from the 3rd Precinct and the 3rd Squad who have received awards over the years. We hope that this visible, permanent record will continue to reflect the credit on these individuals for their service to the Manhasset community. We have added the names of police officers Howder, Powell, and Schultz, and Detective Roche to those already engraved, and would like to represent those plaques to Deputy Inspector Abruzzo, please come up, and to Detective Lieutenant Murphy. The next award, Police Medic of the Year from the Emergency Ambulance Bureau of the Nassau County Police Department. Would Police Medic Robert Seaman please come forward? And with Emergency Ambulance Bureau Supervisor Jacques Embedejes.
Hi, I would like to thank the American Legion for taking the time every year to honor so many individuals in the emergency service field, first off. And interesting enough, EMS members of our first responders community is often just an afterthought. So many people want to just grow up as police officers and firefighters and few in the field of EMS. But Police Medic Robert Seaman is just an example of someone who found his way into the EMS through the fire service and subsequently has served the Nassau County Police Department for 31 years. Although I did not have specifics when Bobby was honored for some of these milestones, I do have a list of that has led him to this honor tonight, and it's a Lifetime Achievement Award. Clearly, the award is well-deserved and includes basic CPR through EMT through critical care training from 1980 to 85. His background includes being a life member and ex-chief of Mineola Volunteers, and ex-chief and still active member of Albertsons Fire Company. He was appointed to Nassau County Emergency Ambulance Bureau on March 27th of 1987, assigned to the 3rd and 6th precincts, and here we are 31 years later. To account some of the numerous life-saving and command recognitions awards, including saving the life of a police officer. He has been involved in multi-casualty incidences and numerous fire scenarios. He has delivered almost 50 babies, including a set of twins, one breech, which is coming out the wrong way, and in the parking lot of Coliseum. He spent multiple hours inside the plane rescuing victims of the evening of January 25th of 1990. That was the Avianca Flight 52 crash in Cove Neck. While doing all this, he's managed to be a training officer to the Ambulance Bureau since 1990 and has taken the time to influence and mold the skills of many EMT students who ride on the Nassau County police ambulances, as well as police recruits coming through the academy to advance their EMS skill levels. He was my FTO, so he's touched many lives in his dedicated service. Who has taken the time not only to do his job, but to do it well and make our communities and our lives better. So to recognize Police Medic Seaman tonight is just a small token of our appreciation. Thank you.
We will now turn our attention to the Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department. The next award is Firefighter of the Year from the Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department. Would firefighter Charles Shue please come forward? And would Deputy Chief Brian Stone make the presentation?
Good evening. I'm Brian Stone, the Chief of Department for Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department. Again, thank you to the American Legion for doing this and recognizing members of the community that help and serve the community. It's my honor to recognize this gentleman as our Firefighter of the Year, ex-captain and 50-year member, Charlie Shue. Ex-captain and 50-year Charles Shue joined the Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department in June of 1966. I wasn't even born yet. He's one of the handful active members that respond out of Company 2 Firehouse on the corner of Northern Boulevard and East Shore Road. And also remembers moving into that new house built behind Macy's in 1971. He was deployed to Vietnam with the U.S. Marine Corps in 1968 through 1969. He came back and served as company second lieutenant from 1974 to 1976, 1976 to 1978 as first lieutenant, and then 1978 to 1980 as the captain. Charlie's received Fireman of the Year for pulling 2 people out of an industrial sewer that had been filled with trichloroethylene, saving the life of one of the victims. 2 of Charles' proudest moments through his 50 years was first with his son Peter when he joined Company 2, and second, followed in Charles' footsteps and became captain of Company 2. He's been an active member of the department truck committee since 1972, and he's been involved with every truck built for the department since then. Charlie's also the proud grandfather of 9 beautiful grandchildren. Congratulations, Charlie. 50 years. It's a long time.
Our next award is Emergency Medical Technician of the Year from the Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department. Would EMT Mitch Levine please come forward?
Mitch? Okay. Ex-Captain Mitchell Levine joined the ambulance unit in 1990 and is currently the longest-serving EMT CC in the department. Mitch has dedicated himself not just to providing excellent care for our residents, but also educating the new members of the department. Mitch teaches state EMT classes, AMT Advanced Cardiac Life Support, Pediatric Advanced Life Support, and BLS CPR classes. In addition to education, Mitch serves as the department secretary and helps to oversee the ambulance unit's narcotics program. Mitch embodies the service before self, responding to 205 calls in 2017 alone. It's my pleasure to present you with the award.
We would now like to honor the Plandome Fire Department. The award is Firefighter of the Year from the Plandome Fire Department. Would firefighter Keith Connors please come forward, and Fire Chief Paul Becker make the presentation.
Come on up here, Deputy Chief Sean. Got to embarrass him as well. Good evening, thank you again, American Legion, for hosting everyone tonight. When people join a volunteer fire department, we always we take a wait-and-see approach. Will they continue to be this eager and helpful over time, or is it just something they do for a little while until they find something else? Well, Keith not only kept up to the gusto over the years, he was also our top responder last year, making approximately 60% of our calls, including multiple mutual aid calls. This isn't Keith's first year, second year, 5th year, okay? He's been doing this for 8 years plus now. In fact, I had double-checked the records to make sure it was only that time, because it seems so much longer. A challenge all departments face is daytime calls and getting members out. Keith is always there. He makes more daytime calls than anyone else, and for that we are very grateful. Over his years, he's woven himself into the fabric of the department. It's a privilege to have such an outstanding, selfless member as a member of our Plandome Fire Department. Thank you very much, Keith and Mary Kay and family, for sharing him with us. Thank you.
Well, this concludes our awards program. Tonight we have seen an outstanding group of dedicated people. We thank you for your interest and support. And again, we thank our honorees for the service to our community. I now return the program to our commander, Peter Killian.
I now declare this meeting of the Manhasset Post 304 of the American Legion finished. We have coffee and cake if anybody's interested. Thank you.